When college started, I wrote recycling collectors under parents' occupations on my student information form. My classmates all laughed, saying I was raised on garbage. Only one other student came from a similar background. He said his dad was a miner. We hit it off immediately, kindred spirits, united in our misery, and became the best of friends. We went to class together, worked part-time jobs together, and ordered from the broke student menu at the cheap ice cream shop and McDonald's by the campus gate. He cupped my face in his hands and said earnestly, "Juliet, don't worry. I'm going to give you a better life." I looked back with equal sincerity. "Leo, don't you worry either. I'm going to work hard too." Then, at our graduation ceremony, I pulled up in my Porsche Panamera, holding 3 property deeds, ready to propose. That's when I saw my broke boyfriend step out of a Ferrari. My world shattered. What happened to the handsome, hardworking college kid from a poor mining family? He, holding a giant diamond ring and a gift deed, was just as shocked. What happened to the independent, resilient girl who collected cans to get by? My family owns a scrap recycling empire, and from a young age, my parents taught me to never flash our wealth. So at the freshman orientation, I confidently wrote recycling in the parents' occupation section. "Hi there, freshman," a TA named Tom Chong said, circling the room before stopping at my desk. He tapped it lightly, his voice as smooth as a summer breeze. "I'm just collecting the info sheets. While I'm here, can I get your number?" I looked up from my form. "What was that? Get your number? Your mom collects cans?" He glanced at the still wet ink on my form. "Yep, my mom's a can collector and my dad's unemployed." "Oh, is that right?" "Yeah." "What's wrong?" "Nothing." Tom's mouth formed an O, his lips twitching. "Excuse me," I called to him. "You were asking for something?" "I didn't catch it." Nothing at all," he said, quickly shoving his phone into his pocket and pressing it down for good measure. "I was just checking a message, haha. Well, see you around." He bolted, moving so fast he slammed his leg into a desk corner. As he was wincing in pain, I spoke up. "Hey, wait a second." Tom eyed me warily from 3 rows away. "What is it?" "That empty bottle on the lectern, you done with it?" Yeah, it's all yours," he said, looking from his empty bottle to me, as if making some profound decision. He turned and limped away. Sometimes even the injured can move pretty fast. I clapped my hands together, ignoring the looks of shock and disgust from everyone else, and hopped onto the stage. Anyone else have empty bottles they don't want? By the end of the orientation, I had collected more than half the class's empty bottles. I pretended not to see my classmates' cringing expressions. Making money is nothing to be ashamed of. What I didn't expect was for a handsome, 6'2" guy to walk up to me. "Hi, need a hand?" At that moment, I was crushing the last plastic bottle with my foot. Crunch. I froze. Me? Yeah. I was just wondering, you want this? He looked a little embarrassed as he handed me a water bottle. I stared at his handsome, boyish face, then at the bottle, and back at his face, nodding enthusiastically. Yes, thank you. Got any more?" I decided to just go for it. The handsome guy nodded. "Wait here a minute." He jogged off and returned a few minutes later with a whole bag of empty bottles. He'd collected them from his entire dorm room. I ended up with a full sack, which I hauled to the campus gate and sold to the old lady who ran the recycling stand for $15. I was incredibly moved. "You're a great guy, you know that?" He scratched his head. "We're in the same class. I was sitting behind you during the meeting. I guess I was too busy pretending to be poor to notice you." To thank him, I quickly offered to treat him to some soft serve from the cheap place nearby. The portions were huge, filling, and most importantly cheap. We sat under a tree, each enjoying our cones. "So, can I get your number?" the guy asked after a moment of hesitation. Now it was my turn to be stunned. Was he hitting on me, or just trying to be friends? Seeing my silence, he scratched his head again, looking at me with a nervous, shy expression. "My name's Leosia." "Leosia?" The guy with student ID number 001? The top student? My eyes lit up. I looked at him, then at the $2 ice cream in my hand. You don't mind what my family does? I mean, even for regular friends, people can be snobs about money." "I don't mind," he said, and to my surprise, he seemed to relax. Actually, my family's not well off either. My dad's a miner. He pulled out his phone and showed me a picture. A miner? I saw a dark mine entrance and immediately pictured a coal miner heading underground. My heart went out to him. Your family has it tough too, I said, feeling like I'd found an ally. Finally, I wouldn't have to listen to other students asking me in that disbelieving, pitying tone, "Wow, your life must be really hard, huh?" Sure, collecting scrap is hard work, but it makes good money. It's how my parents earned their first fortune before starting companies, opening branches, and flipping real estate, eventually paving their way to wealth. Now, the family's recycling company has 9 branches and pulls in over $1 million in profit annually. They always taught me that if you want to make money, you have to be proactive. That first pot of gold is always the hardest to earn. I took that to heart, which is why I decided to follow in their footsteps and start by collecting scrap. Of course, starting a business as a rich kid is always a little harder. On top of scavenging, I also have to manage some of the family's rental properties. So young and already working 2 jobs, not to mention dealing with shady agents and scammers. Making money really isn't easy. After that first day, my financial situation was public knowledge. My classmates would whisper when they saw me, and the upperclassmen who had been trying to ask me out all backed off, especially the ones who helped me with my luggage on move-in day. Before, my phone had been buzzing nonstop, louder than my 8 a.m. alarm. Now it was finally quiet. I was satisfied. After the hell of senior year, I could finally sleep in and avoid the gold-digging guys who flocked around like bees to honey. Except for Leo, of course. He wasn't like that. Maybe because our family backgrounds were so similar, he never looked down on me. In fact, just like me, he took every opportunity to work part-time and earn money. I saw a picture on his social feed from a few days ago of him sweating while handing out flyers. I couldn't help but fantasize about bringing a poor, handsome, and ambitious college guy like him home to work for the family. Wouldn't my parents be proud of my business sense? As I was lost in thought, my roommate, Mindy Wong, walked by and glanced at my phone. "Don't even bother," she said with a sneer. "Lauren, that rich upperclassman, is chasing him hard." Anyway, the $9 mirror we all chipped in for on Amazon arrived. Let's go get the package. Damn it. I forgot. Right now, I'm supposed to be a poor girl. I reluctantly put down my phone and went with my roommates to pick up the mop and broom we'd all bought together. On the way, we passed the garbage room. My roommates held their noses and hurried past, but my eyes lit up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So many delivery boxes. If I collected all of these, how much money could I make? A week later, that spot became my regular stop after class. Unfortunately, it didn't last long. One day, as I was there again, an old woman grabbed my arm and snatched the cardboard box from my hand. "This is mine. Get lost," she barked in a thick local accent, asserting her dominance. She shoved me so hard I stumbled, nearly falling to the ground. This old lady was surprisingly strong for her age. Geez, retired folks have a grip. As I was wincing, a hand reached out and steadied me. It was Leo. He helped me up and brushed the dust off my knees. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." He turned to the old woman. "Ma'am," she saw it first. "You can't just take it from her." "What do you mean? Hers?" The old lady cut him off. "This is my turf. A young girl like you, competing with us old folks for business. What's wrong with you? Don't come back here again." "Hey, Leo, let it go," I said, stopping him. "But it's fine," I said, smiling at him. "She can have it. I'm not going to fight over a single box. Besides, this proves my theory." "What theory?" "There's no end to the scrap you can collect. This is a viable business." The fact that this old lady could so brazenly steal my box meant the system here was still disorganized. She can work the ground level. I'll build the network. Leo's eyes lit up as he quickly understood. "You mean you're going to be the middleman?" "Exactly." I winked and snapped my fingers. "I have an idea. Want to hear it?" I have to say, I inherited my family's business smarts. After a solid week of market research, I decided to go big. Using my years of experience managing rental properties, I found the perfect storefront for a shop, not far from campus, right on a main road with easy access. More importantly, The previous tenant had just broken their lease and skipped town. The landlord was an elderly woman who didn't know much about the law. So, I offered to help her recover the unpaid rent in exchange for a discounted lease. Then, I packaged the case study and gave it to some upperclassmen who were working on a related project. So what's next? Leo asked, looking at the business plan in my hand. A university innovation grant. Yes. We'd be fools not to take the school's money. Team up, submit a proposal, and get funded. I snapped my fingers. UN. Of course. A week later, we got the project approval and laid the foundation for our startup. Unfortunately, life is never that smooth, and I finally got a taste of the downside of pretending to be poor. One day after class, I returned to my dorm to find my roommates huddled together, staring and whispering. It had to be her. What? Hey Juliet, did you steal Mindy's gold necklace? Sarah demanded, holding up an empty jewelry box. What? I vaguely remembered hearing chatter last month about Mindy's family landing a big deal. To put it simply, they'd struck it rich. The bow necklace she bought from K Jewelers last week is missing. Your family is so poor you have to collect bottles to sell. Did you take it to pawn for cash? I almost laughed out loud. Steal something? Steal a gold necklace worth less than $1,000? Was the $1 million in rental income sitting in my bank account just monopoly money? Yeah, another roommate, Amy, chimed in. I saw a jewelry box in her locker. It's probably in there. You went through my locker? The only jewelry I had in there were gifts my family had given me over the years, a Dior ring, Chanel earrings, things I rarely wore to protect my poor girl image. But I never imagined they would go through my things without permission. That was the last straw. My expression darkened. Fine, you can look in my locker. But if you don't find it, you're going to apologize. And if that's not enough, we can just call the police. I opened the jewelry box and of course, Mindy's necklace wasn't there. Who knows if you just hid it somewhere else? Mindy said, walking over with a fake sigh. Whatever, it's just a necklace. I guess I can consider it a gift to her. Mindy, you're so generous. I'm calling the police. What? Everyone froze. A flicker of panic crossed Mindy's face. I'm calling the police. The value is over $500, which is enough to file a report, I said calmly, pulling out my phone. A necklace might not be a big deal to me, but for you guys? I glanced at the fake designer necklace Mindy was wearing and added nonchalantly, it seems pretty important. When the police arrived, they found the necklace in the pocket of an unwashed coat belonging to Mindy. Young lady, your classmate didn't take your necklace. Make sure you apologize to her. After a lecture from the police, Mindy grudgingly sent me $50. I didn't accept it. Humiliated, she ended up staying somewhere else for a week. A week later, I opened the door to our dorm and saw Mindy, decked out in Chanel, sashaying out of the bathroom. It's my birthday today. I'm treating everyone to hot pot. You shouldn't come, another roommate, Sarah, said, pointing at me contemptuously. We're going at 5 when it's not happy hour. It's like $100 a person. This way, you won't have to worry about treating us back later. Yeah, your parents have it so tough. It's only right that you save money, Amy added, frowning with feigned sympathy. Don't worry, we'll invite you to other stuff that doesn't cost money. Actually, I'm not short on cash. Oh, just stop pretending, Mindy said, applying her lipstick and giving me a sidelong glance. I know I'm being blunt, but look at what you're wearing. Do you look like you have money? I looked down at my t-shirt and shorts. Well, they were comfortable for working. All right, Mindy, let's not waste our breath on her. Let's go eat, Amy said, sucking up. Let's go. Mindy slung her new Louis Vuitton bag over her shoulder, didn't give me another look and swept out the door. Fine. I clamped my mouth shut. The less I said, the better. Never flash your cash. I couldn't blow my poor but pretty college girl cover over a moment of anger. Growing up, I'd seen plenty of people get into trouble for showing off their wealth. I thought back to what my parents told me before I left for college, and a shiver of fear ran down my spine. My mom. Honey, as our only daughter, I have just one rule for you going out of state for college. Don't marry far from home, don't get involved with a gold digger, and for God's sake, don't fall for a guy just because he's handsome. My dad chimed in. And it's okay if a guy is poor. Worst case, he can marry into the family and work for us. But if he's only after your money from the start, he's no good. My mom continued. You see what happened to your Aunt Carol? She fell for some hotshot hairdresser, and not even a year into the marriage, he cheated on her and ran off with $500,000. Then he went and blew another 200 grand getting scammed at a club. 200 grand? How many empty cans would you have to sell to make that much? The thought made me sigh. Whatever. If I couldn't have hot pot, I'd get sushi. With that, I sent a crying emoji to my best friend Hannah. I'm starving. She replied instantly, Juliet, what's wrong? But I'd accidentally sent it to Leo. His chat was right below Hannah's, and he'd been texting me so much lately. I frantically tried to unsend the message, but a series of voice messages popped up from him. What happened? What do you want to eat? It's nothing, just a small thing, I quickly replied. A small thing? He immediately called me. I'm already downstairs. Want to grab a bite? What? No, you don't have to. I glanced out the window and saw Leo on his bike, one long leg swung over the frame. The words of refusal died on my lips. I swallowed hard, my resolve crumbling, and went downstairs. When he saw me, a brilliant smile lit up his face. He held up a bag. Juliet, over here. He handed me a cup of iced tea. From the cheap place. Lightly sweet, easy on the ice. I made a little extra money at my part-time job today. Want to get some dinner? Oh, I couldn't let you do that. Hop on. There's a new spicy stir-fry place on 4th Street that's really good. Buy one, get one half off. None of my roommates like spicy food, so would you mind going with me? He gave me a puppy dog look. Just this once, please? Are you testing a college girl with your good looks? Gulp. I heard myself swallow. At that moment, only one thought filled my mind. I am going to buy a spicy stir-fry restaurant right here, right now. I'm done pretending. I'm rich, damn it. Thankfully, the thought of my $1 million bank account brought me back to my senses at the last second. 1 million, 1 million. I chanted under my breath, clenching my fists. What? Leo asked. What about $1 million? Oh, nothing. You heard me wrong, I said with a weak laugh, quickly changing the subject. Are we almost there? We're here. He pointed ahead to a brand new spicy stir-fry restaurant. Right this way. This was the first time we'd gone out to eat alone. He handed me a menu. You order first. Anything you don't eat? As I scanned the menu, I answered out of habit, lots of lotus root, and no star anise or garlic. Crap. It wasn't until the words were out of my mouth that I realized I wasn't at home, and the person across from me wasn't my family's personal chef. It was Leo's fault for asking so naturally. Got it, Leo said, seemingly oblivious to my inner panic. He finished ticking off the ingredients and added a few more dishes. Cilantro? Yes. My spirits lifted. I was surprised. I didn't even see that on the menu. He smiled and handed the order to the waiter. Yeah, it's in the very last section. Easy to miss. While we waited for the food, he asked me again what had happened earlier. I tried to brush it off. It was nothing. It's a little cold in here, isn't it? To my surprise, Leo pulled a jacket out of his bag. If you're cold, you can wear this. It's new, I haven't worn it. What? A male mother hen? I was stunned. He brought an extra jacket just for dinner? He thought of everything. Your friend told me you get cold easily, so I brought one just in case, he said with a smile. If you're still cold, I can ask them to turn up the heat. No, that's okay, I said, feeling a little embarrassed. Table for two, your food is ready, the server announced cheerfully, placing our dishes on the table. That was fast, I said, surprised. I looked around and saw a bunch of customers who had arrived before us glaring enviously at our table. Ahem, I made a reservation earlier, so our food came out quicker, Leo explained, handing me a pair of freshly sanitized chopsticks. Go on, try it. Since when do spicy stir-fry places take reservations? Ahem, the noodles here are really good. Why don't you try some? The aroma of the food was too tempting. I immediately forgot my suspicions and scooped up a bite. Ooh, hot. And so good. My eyes lit up. This place made authentic spicy stir-fry. A dream come true for a spice lover like me. God knows how hard it is to find a good spicy restaurant when you're one of the few spice-loving people from the East Coast. Is it good? I nodded enthusiastically. You should eat too. Yeah, okay. I don't know if it was my imagination, but he sounded a bit reluctant. I saw him take one bite, and his lips immediately turned bright red. I couldn't help but chuckle. You like spicy food? You don't look like you can handle it. I can't handle it well, but I like it. Seeing tears welling up in his eyes from the spice, I couldn't stop laughing. The dark cloud over my head completely vanished. Actually, I just had a small argument with my roommates. As the steam rose from the sizzling pot, I found myself telling him everything that had happened that day. When I finished, I added, it's really not a big deal. It was just a silly thing. He didn't say anything, just reached over and scooped the freshly cooked quail eggs into my bowl. I understand. Seeing his stern expression, I couldn't help but smile. Hey, I'm not mad anymore, so don't you worry about it, Mama Leo. What did you call me? Leo's eyes widened as if he'd been struck by lightning. Oh God. It's over. How did I say what I was thinking out loud? I quickly piled a heap of noodles and meat onto his plate. Nothing, you heard wrong. Eat up, eat up. From that day on, I completely let my guard down. I discovered that Leo and I had so much in common. From our taste in food to our values and worldviews, we were practically identical. Most importantly, I was obsessed with money, and he was a natural at making it. Ugh, how can someone be so perfect? I stared at our chat history, writhing on my bed with excitement. I can't take it anymore. I want a boyfriend. My mind started running wild with fantasies. If we got together, it would be so great to bring him home to work at the family business. He's poor, handsome, and smart. Ah. Goodbye, Mo. I'm falling in love tonight. No, a woman must be composed. I need to play it cool. Just as I managed to rein in my crazy thoughts, a message from Leo popped up. Want to get dinner tonight? Location: rooftop, 5 Elements Garden Hotel, City Center. My eyes widened, and I nearly threw my phone across the room. Damn. Did this guy secretly get rich? Why are we suddenly going somewhere so fancy? Me, did you win the lottery? Why are we eating somewhere so expensive? You'll see when you get here. After much hesitation, I finally went out. As I walked nervously into the restaurant, click, the lights went out. Amidst my surprise, surrounded by a room full of roses and candles, Leo walked toward me with a bouquet of flowers. Juliet, be with me. I'll work hard, make money, and give you the best life possible. Cora question. What do you do when your broke crush suddenly spends a fortune to confess his love to you in front of an entire restaurant? Answer. Thanks for the invite. I'm here, but my brain checked out a while ago. So you said yes? Hannah shrieked on the other end of the phone. Say yes, marry him. I did say yes, but I also kind of zoned out. I was so embarrassed. The guy's confession was practically a marriage proposal. He actually booked the entire restaurant. Still, I had a nagging worry. I sent my new boyfriend my first message of the night. Boyfriend, you didn't take out a loan from a loan shark, did you? He replied with a series of ellipses, followed by a screenshot of a bank transfer. I looked closer and saw it was prize money from a software patent he'd developed in his computer science minor. A full $10,000. Okay, good. I breathed a sigh of relief and happily went to sleep. Cora question. What do you do when your broke crush suddenly spends a fortune to confess his love to you in front of an entire restaurant? Update. We're together now, and the money has multiplied. Also, my broke boyfriend is no longer broke, thanks to his brilliant mind. Dating is great. Dating a genius is even better. I never had to worry about meals or homework. My luck turned around too. The revenue from my recycling side hustle shot up, and I couldn't stop it. Our innovation project was also successfully completed. Boyfriend, you asking me? So I'm ready to take it to the next level. I rushed to the basketball court to find him. Leo, I've got a project with a $10,000 grant. Interested? I grinned. Our university-level project got approved. The advisor said we can scale it up and aim for the National Tech Startup Competition. Okay, Leo said, handing me a wet wipe. I wiped the sweat from my face and continued. I want to strike while the iron is hot, and build a campus-wide system for recycling and second-hand goods. It'll include modules for scrap collection, peer-to-peer selling, and a graduation auction for leftover items. It'll be green and profitable. I'm still brainstorming the details. You're a computer science guy, right? How about building an app? Okay, Leo said, magically producing a bottle of water for me. I chugged half of it down. I want you to be in charge of building the platform. I'll handle the feature design. Okay. I want spicy crawfish for dinner tonight. Okay. Okay, my foot. Seriously. Seeing him staring at me in a daze, I finally tapped him on the head. Leo, are you even listening to me? You're allergic to shellfish. How can you eat crawfish? At this rate, if I asked for a diamond the size of a pigeon's egg, you'd just say okay too? A pigeon's egg diamond? I'll work hard and earn the money to buy it for you, Leo said, finally snapping out of it. He reached out and took my hand. Hey, I'm talking business here. I swatted his hand away, my face turning slightly red. I'll take that as a yes. Of course. You're my girlfriend. Damn it. I'm dead. He's so smooth it's killing me. How did I never notice how good he is at this? And so, Leo and I happily dated for a semester. Everything was perfect, if it weren't for the damn final exams. Why does concrete need to be mixed with C56 cement? Why does calculus have to be so insane? Leo just smiled and comforted me. Don't worry about it. It's all over now. I glared at him. What if I failed? You won't. How would you know? I roughly calculated your score. Right? I forgot about your freakish memory. Anyway, since it's all over, why don't we relax? The class president is organizing a karaoke night for everyone. Want to go? He asked, looking at the class group chat. Sure, let's go, I nodded. 10 minutes later, I stood in front of the karaoke bar, staring at the big sign that read Juliet's Era, and a sense of dread washed over me. Then I saw the manager standing at the door. Wasn't that Mr. Zhang, the general manager of my family's KTV chain? Yes, my English name is Juliet. And this place, if I wasn't mistaken, was owned by my family. Years ago, my nouveau riche dad saw how popular another KTV chain called Victoria's Era was and decided to open one for fun. He insisted on naming it after his daughter. It ended up becoming a massive success, and now it's a chain. I quickly pulled on my hat and zipped up my jacket to my chin, chanting to myself, "Don't see me, don't see me. Welcome everyone. This way, please." The manager peered around, and just as he was about to call out, "Miss Juliet," I stomped on his foot. "Uncle." I ducked into the restroom and furiously texted my dad. "Did you send Mr. Zhang here?" "Oh honey, your dad was just worried. What if the KTVs near your school aren't safe? So I opened one to make it convenient for you and your friends." "Then why didn't you tell me?" "Umph." My mother chuckled in the background. "He opened it but was afraid you'd be mad, so he's been skulking around like a coward, too scared to tell you for 3 months. See? I told you your daughter would yell at you. Ha 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 ha, serves you right. Thanks, both of you. I'll handle it myself. Just please don't cause any more trouble." I put my hat back on, gave a few instructions and hurried out of the restroom. As I walked in, I heard the class president on stage, shouting with passion, "Friends, eat, drink, and be merry. Tonight's on me." I spent the entire night sweating bullets. While the president was on stage, clutching a beer bottle and screaming a cheesy song, I was furiously typing on my phone. "No freevies. Don't blow my cover. Stop sending fruit platters. You've already come in 4 times. Get out. Mr. Zhang." Okay, Mississippi. This is the last plate of watermelon, then I'm out." "Hey, is that handsome guy next to you your boyfriend?" "Stop. Don't ask. Don't tell my parents. Get out." I was on edge the whole night, terrified that Leo would find out, and that the unreliable Mr. Zhang would tell my parents about my relationship. When I finally looked up, Leo was gone. Where did he go? I glanced around and saw 2 of Mindy's cronies hesitantly approach me. "Juliet, we're sorry about what happened on Mindy's birthday. We didn't mean it. We were wrong to accuse you." I was taken aback and quickly waved my hands. "It's okay. I'd almost forgotten about it. But where is Mindy? It's strange not to see her here." "You don't know?" one of them said. Last week, her dad was arrested for embezzlement and bribery. Her family went bankrupt, and she dropped out of school. What? I was shocked. Was this karma, or was someone else pulling the strings? While I was pondering this, the class president suddenly ran out, fuming. I said it was my treat. Who paid the bill? Still reeling, I shot a sharp, X-ray-like glare at the manager. Was it you? It wasn't me, I swear. Mr. Zheng looked like a man wrongly accused, mouthing the words, "I'm innocent." Some guy just came and paid for everything for the whole night, right before I was about to pay. What did he look like? I walked over and asked quietly. I didn't get a good look. He was tall and thin, wearing a mask. Looked pretty handsome. He had a mole under the corner of his mouth. It couldn't be Leo, could it? Impossible. I quickly dismissed the thought. The most expensive thing he owned was the $80 pair of Nikes I got him for his birthday. As I was trying to figure it out, the deputy class president, Kevin Wong, stumbled over to me, slurring his words. Juliet. I jumped. What is it? His eyes darted around, and seeing that Leo wasn't there, he suddenly grabbed my hand. Forget about collecting your scrap. How about you be with me? I was shocked and yanked my hand back. What the hell is wrong with you? I like you. I'll give you this much a month. He held up 3 fingers. Dump Leo and be with me. I'll make sure you're taken care of. 30,000? Before I could ask, he laughed to himself. 300 a month. Isn't that better than collecting your stupid junk? I almost threw up. You've got to be kidding me. 300 a month, no benefits, no weekends off, no health insurance? The old lady who buys my recycling at the campus gate would spit at that offer. I pay her 500 a month, and she still calls me a ruthless capitalist. Just as I was about to unleash a verbal tirade, Leo appeared behind me, grabbed Kevin's hand, and twisted it hard. His voice was ice cold. What do you think you're doing? Kevin let out a yelp of pain, drawing the attention of the other students. Ow, ow, ow. Let go. Apologize. Leo didn't let go instead. He bent his wrist back further. Apologize to Juliet, or I'll punch you. I'm sorry. I drank too much. Under the threat of violence, Kevin sobered up instantly. I was wrong. Please don't hit me. Leo. I yelled. Stop. He froze, looking at me in disbelief. Putty. It's not worth hitting trash like him, I said, looking coldly at Kevin. I have a boyfriend, and I've already called the police. After we left the police station, I noticed Leo was unusually quiet. He couldn't hold his liquor, and when he drank, he talked more than usual. Why? Are you asking why I stopped you from hitting him? You're too nice. People will take advantage of you, he said, looking at me with deep concern in his eyes. Maybe you should come home with me. I can get bodyguards too. What are you rambling about? I laughed. Don't worry, I'm not nice. I just don't think it's necessary. They're just my classmates for 4 years. Arguing with them is a waste of my time and energy. And in situations like tonight, I'm not completely unprepared. I held up my phone, my eyes clear. Evidence gathering, lawsuit, the whole 9 yards. Don't forget, Hannah is a law student. Leo looked at me with a complicated expression. Finally, he rested his head on my shoulder and mumbled, "But I'm your boyfriend. If there's a next time, I'm definitely punching him." All right, you have an early shift tomorrow. Go home and get some sleep. For the 365th time, I marveled at how low his alcohol tolerance was. Thankfully, bad moments are always fleeting. A month later, our tech startup project was officially approved. Yes. I jumped up and down with excitement when I heard the news. Team leaders treating everyone to hot pot tonight. Our whole project group erupted in cheers. At the restaurant, I waved my hand grandly, popped a bottle of champagne for the first time, and declared dramatically, "Tonight, no one goes home sober." Leo watched me with a gentle smile, drinking cup after cup with me. Soon his face turned bright red. This guy's tolerance was as bad as ever. He recorded all. While he wasn't looking, I recorded his drunken state. After a few rounds, someone suggested playing Truth or Dare. When it was Leo's turn, someone asked Leo, "When are you planning to marry Juliet?" The room filled with catcalls and cheers. He shook his head to clear it, took my hand in front of everyone, and said seriously, "When we graduate, I'm going to marry her and take her home." Juliet, are you ready? Come on, let's take a picture. Time flies. Leo and I have been dating for almost 4 years now. I don't know if it's because Leo is my soulmate, but the deputy class president who harassed me was reported for misconduct and lost his grad school recommendation. My business and studies flourished. By the time I graduated, I had earned my first $100,000 and was finally at the graduation season I'd been waiting for. I'm going to take my boyfriend home. It was finally time for the big reveal. I was going to drop the act and bring my modest, hardworking, genius boyfriend home to marry into the family. On the day of the ceremony, I took out my rarely used black card and bought myself a full heiress-level outfit. Leo and I agreed to meet at the campus gate at noon. To avoid giving him too much of a shock, I specifically booked a table at the dumpling shop by the gate for one last remembering the struggle meal. I hung up the phone, put on my Chanel sunglasses, and drove my Porsche Panamera onto the field with a flourish. I sent Leo my location. Babe, I'm here. I sat in my convertible, admiring the 3 property deeds in my hand. Soon, I'd have him in my passenger seat, my man, living a life of bliss. Just then, I heard a chorus of gasps from nearby. Another luxury car. It's a Ferrari. I looked over and saw a flashy red Ferrari pull up not far from me. The pristine body, the side-mounted exhaust pipes, everything about it screamed money. Ooh, which jerk is trying to steal my thunder? I slid my sunglasses down my nose, ready to confront this Ferrari owner. But then the door opened and a pair of long, familiar legs stepped out. It was my broke boyfriend of 4 years, Leo. Where did my genius college kid go? I thought we were on the same page, but you were playing games with me? Ding. My phone buzzed. Juliet, I'm here. Where are you? I let out a cold laugh, slapped the property deeds onto the horn, and honked. Look to your left. Our eyes met. We were speechless. My world shattered. So did his. I sat in my Panamera, waving the 3 red property deeds and roaring, "You big liar! What happened to my handsome, hard-working college kid from a poor mining family?" Leo leaned against his Ferrari, clutching the giant diamond ring. After a long moment, he squeezed out a sentence through his teeth. "And you? What happened to my independent, resilient girl who collected cans to get by?" I completely lost it. "You said your family was in mining." "They are." "What, emerald and diamond mines don't count?" "I say that again. 1 emerald mine in Myanmar, 2 gold mines in Russia. That picture was of my dad inspecting a shaft." "Okay, stop." I couldn't listen anymore. I had only one thought. Go home, curl up in my 8,000 square foot penthouse, and mourn my dead romance. "What about you?" "My family really does collect scrap," I said, suddenly feeling guilty and trying to save face. "We just expanded a little, opened a small company." "How small?" 6 apartment buildings? 9 branch offices? Leosia, do you know that serious fraud gets you jail time? You have the nerve to talk to me? What have you been hiding from me? That spicy stir-fry place by the gate is mine. And you? Juliet's era, that KTV bar, is mine. I demanded to know why he pretended to be poor. "I thought you didn't have much, and I was afraid my family's wealth would create a rift between us." My silence was deafening. "Anything else to confess?" I asked, wearily taking off my glasses and heels. "Might as well get it all out." He silently handed me a hard-backed folder. "For you." I opened it. A transfer agreement for a Russian diamond mine. I shoved the 3 property deeds into his arms. "Yours." Just then my phone rang. I looked. Simultaneously, his phone rang too. "Oh no." We both said at the same time. "The lunch meeting." "Quick, hide your Patek Philippe. You hide your Chanel bag first. It's too late. They're already at the edge of the field." So, a regal-looking woman stood at the entrance. "Where's our dear daughter-in-law?" At the same time, my mom's voice rang out. "Sweetheart, where's my new son?" I instinctively hid my bag behind my back. Leo, without a second glance, took off his watch and tossed it into a nearby trash can. "Me? You just threw away a $76,000 watch? Baby, we have to get through this first," he hissed. "We can always come back and dig through the trash tonight." "You've got to be kidding me." 15 minutes later, 6 people, collectively decked out in a full catalog of luxury brands, were crammed into a tiny, hole-in-the-wall dumpling shop at the campus gate. Does anyone have anything to explain? My dad asked, breaking the silence. I didn't know. Maybe he didn't, but I certainly didn't. Excuse me, sir, ma'am. I think there may have been a small misunderstanding, Leo said awkwardly, trying to smooth things over. Ahem, let's not rush this. Why don't we find another place to eat? Leo's dad quickly seized the opportunity, asking tentatively. Yes. Everyone was in complete agreement on this point. While Leo's family was making a reservation, my mom sidled up to me and whispered through gritted teeth, "This is your poor college kid? Let me tell you, that new Chanel coat Leo's mom is wearing? I couldn't even get my hands on one this year. Mom, please let me explain." Half an hour later, we were at a rooftop restaurant in the city's finest hotel. As Leo stumbled through the story, my mom pieced together the truth of our 4 years of college. A showdown between two master pretenders, each trying to outpour the other. So you two ate at McDonald's for 4 years? Pretty much. I didn't dare mention that was only for special occasions. My mom's eyes welled with tears. And here I was wondering why you never used the new bag I bought you. Sir, ma'am, Leo said, stepping in front of me. He stood up, raised his glass, and apologized sincerely. I'm sorry. Although I kept some things from Juliet, my feelings for her are completely genuine. Please rest assured. I quickly chimed in, assuring my future in-laws of our rock-solid love. My mom was still a little miffed that her dream of a son-in-law she could control had gone up in smoke. Leo's mom was also a bit disappointed that she couldn't just gift us a house. Seemed like such a waste. All right, dear, they've been together for 4 years. Are they really going to break up over something like this? My dad said unexpectedly. Of course not. We both blurted out in unison. At that, all the adults at the table started laughing. Let the kids sort out their own affairs, Leo's father said. He and his wife then shoved another gift deed into my hands and made a quick exit. My parents, seeing this, quickly pulled out an oversized property deed, thrust it into Leo's hands, and also made a run for it, leaving the two of us staring at each other. What's this? I opened it, and the words on the agreement nearly blinded me. A 10% stake in some publicly traded company. Leo opened his expression turning strange. The deed to an entire apartment building. You're in charge of this building from now on. Realizing what was happening, I quickly went on the offensive. Your future mother-in-law gave it to you. You have to take it. No way. You're in charge of this mine. Leo wasn't backing down. It's yours. I'm going to go collect some cans. See you later. Leo, yeah, if you dare walk away, I'm not done with you. Now let's move on to our second story. Right before the New Year holiday, my boss had a sudden whim. All employees had to write a year-end summary detailing their contributions to the company for every single day of the past year. He would then randomly select one to publicly review at the annual company party. I was that unlucky employee. When the boss saw that my daily work log was completely blank, he flew into a rage at the party, calling me a parasite on the company, a useless freeloader. The thing is, I'm a specialized technician on standby. My only job is to maintain a brand new piece of equipment imported from overseas. If the machine is fine, I have no work to do. But the boss wouldn't listen to explanations and fired me on the spot. After the holiday, in a rush to ship an order, he had someone crank up the machine's parameters beyond what I had set, trying to boost production. The machine promptly broke down. They couldn't find anyone else in the country who could fix it, so my former boss had no choice but to call me. I sent him a quote where every single line item for repairs costs more than my old annual salary. I can fix it, I said. Pay up first. Anahi, get up here and explain to me why your year-end summary shows a whole year of blank work entries. My boss, Mr. Zhao, roared, his face a mask of fury. He stood on the stage, waving a piece of paper in one hand and a microphone in the other, his voice booming over the hundreds of employees at the company's annual party, loud enough to make our ears ring. In that moment, the relaxed, festive atmosphere of the party instantly tensed up. Faced with Mr. Zhao's towering rage, no one dared to make a sound. That's when I, lost in the crowd of employees, raised my hand and resignedly stood up. I sighed to myself, what bad luck. I didn't feel particularly nervous though. My colleagues stared at me as if I were a warrior heading into battle. parting like the Red Sea to create a path to the stage, their eyes following me as I went to face Mr. Zhao's storm. I overheard a coworker whispering, "I knew this would be a disaster. The boss is crazy. A daily contribution log for the year-end review? Who has time for that? So you didn't write one either?" "Oh, I did. I had an AI generate one for me." "No way, me too. Luckily, I'm on the assembly line, paid by the piece. Our supervisor got a detailed payroll breakdown from accounting and handled it for us." "Your supervisor is so nice. Which department is this Anna he from? She's so screwed. Did no one in her department tell her about the AI trick?" "I don't know. I've never seen her before." "Me neither." "You think the boss is going to make her cry?" Crying was not going to happen. When I was hired, both the HR manager and the head of the maintenance department warned me. They said Mr. Zhao was a toxic capitalist who lived by the motto, "Employees should always look busy. This company doesn't support idlers." I was the specialized technician who came with the new equipment from Germany. At the time, none of the senior technicians in the factory understood the machine, and they certainly couldn't read German. I was essential. My job scope was clearly defined when I was hired. I was only responsible for the maintenance of this one machine. And you don't exactly hope for a machine to break down, do you? But given Mr. Zhao's reputation, they advised me to just play it safe. If he ever came to the factory floor, I should just pretend to be busy. For the salary they were paying me, I was more than happy to play along. Mr. Zhao rarely left his office anyway, so I spent over a year as an idler right under his nose. If it hadn't been for his sudden whim to have a different kind of annual party, requiring every single employee to write a detailed daily summary of their contributions, none of this would have happened. He'd announced that he would randomly pick one summary, review it publicly, and if it was accurate, the employee would receive a huge bonus. If not, well, you get what was happening to me right now. A public execution. I calmly walked up to Mr. Zhao. Seeing my complete lack of remorse, the fire in his eyes burned even hotter. "I've looked at your attendance record. In the year plus you've been with this company, you've clocked in right on time and left the second the day was over. You haven't worked a single hour of overtime or repaired a single machine. Do you know what kind of employee you are?" He questioned me with righteous fury, as if I had committed some heinous crime. I expected him to be mad, but not this mad. I frowned, about to explain, but he cut me off with a wave of his hand. He turned away from me to face the audience, my face magnified on the screen behind the stage. I heard him launch into a new round of criticism. "Employees like Anna here are leeches on this company. They are freeloading parasites. I will not tolerate such lazy, incompetent people in my company." Now I took offense to that. Even the HR manager and my department head in the audience looked shocked. As they were about to come up on stage to explain, Mr. Zhao pointed a finger at me and bellowed, "You're fired." At that point, my face had gone cold. "Hey, are you done with your bullshit?" My words sent a ripple of shock through the crowd. They couldn't believe that not only had I not explained myself, but I had dared to be disrespectful to the boss. Not that he deserved any respect, but in this economy, you usually just have to suck it up and bow your head. Mr. Zhao had expected me to argue, to beg for my job. He never expected me to fight back. His tirade was completely derailed, and his face turned the color of a beet. I didn't care. I picked up the other microphone. "Now it's my turn." I was going to explain, but I don't see the point anymore. What I want to say is that you just called me a leech and a parasite in front of the entire company. That is defamation. I'm guessing you're not familiar with the law, but publicly insulting me and damaging my character is grounds for a lawsuit. If you don't apologize to me right now, I have no problem calling the police and letting them handle your mouth. Mr. Zhao wanted to make an example of me, but that required my cooperation. I demanded a public apology in front of his entire company. With so many eyes on him, he was trapped. Apologizing would be humiliating, but not apologizing would be worse. He was caught between a rock and a hard place. The company had its share of suck-ups. Seeing an opportunity to score points with the boss, Don, a wily old-timer from the maintenance department, ran onto the stage. He positioned himself between me and Mr. Zhao, trying to play mediator. He told me to do him a favor and not make the situation awkward, that everyone was watching, and we should just let it go. I snorted. This was the same Don who, despite not being my superior, was always trying to boss me around because he'd been at the company longer. After I shut him down a few times, he gave up on that and started trying to get me to teach him how to repair and calibrate the new machine for free, as a colleague. It was obvious what he was up to. He was jealous of my higher salary and lighter workload and wanted to replace me. I had taught him some basics before, mostly because he was my dad's age and I was trying to be nice. That probably gave him the mistaken impression that he had some influence over me. I saw Mr. Zhao's tense expression relax as Don stepped in. He even gave Don an appreciative look. Seeing this, I bluntly refused. Don't pin this on me. Mr. Zhao is the one who made this awkward. Until I hear a personal apology from him, I'm not letting this go. My refusal to back down pushed Mr. Zhao over the edge. He exploded with rage. What did I say that was wrong? You are a waste of company resources, a parasite. I don't care who you know to get this job, but now that I've found you out, I'm being generous by not making you pay back your salary. And now you have the audacity to give me attitude. You think I'm scared of your threats? Go ahead, call the police. Suime. Security. Get him out of here. I was done wasting my breath on him. When he called for security, his voice was laced with panic. He saw me pull out my phone and dial 911. Fine. We'll let the police decide if it's a threat. I can live without hearing and I'm sorry, but someone's going to be spending the new year in a holding cell. With that, I pressed the call button as Mr. Zhao watched in horror. Beep beep beep. The call was ringing. Mr. Zhao was visibly sweating. Just then, not wanting to miss his moment to shine, Don lunged for my phone. I was ready for him and sidestepped, easily dodging his grab. The call connected. A calm, steady voice came through the line. 911, this call is being recorded. What is your emergency? Me hello someone is. I'm sorry alright. Mr. Zhao shouted, cutting me off. My apologies, it's been resolved, I said and hung up. I looked at Mr. Zhao's humiliated expression and hateful glare, feeling a surge of satisfaction. So you do know the law, I taunted. You just thought I was an easy target. Too bad for you, you picked the wrong person to mess with. His face was black as ink. He gritted his teeth and ordered me out. You're fired. You are no longer an employee of this company. Non-employees are not welcome at our annual party. Please leave. Mama. After learning to apologize, you've even learned some manners. I knew when to quit while I was ahead. But before I left, I made sure to remind him, by the way, you fired me. I didn't quit. So don't forget my severance pay. Otherwise, I have no problem taking legal action to get what I'm owed. As I finished speaking, someone from the crowd yelled, yeah. The first clap followed, and emotions are contagious. The other employees, feeling a sense of solidarity, started applauding too. I even saw someone give me a thumbs up. As I walked past them on my way out, I heard someone whisper excitedly, that was so badass. Behind me, a defeated Mr. Zhao lost control completely, screaming into the microphone. What are you doing? What are you all doing? Do you all want to be fired? Who was the first one to cheer? Stand up. That's it. The party's over. Everyone out. Get out. Unemployed right before the new year, but I wasn't particularly worried. I happily drove home. I'm a local. The company is only a 10-minute drive from my house. That's why when the company was in Germany purchasing the equipment and asked for help finding a technician who knew how to maintain it and was willing to move to their country, I, a PhD student who had just painstakingly earned her mechanical engineering degree in Germany, jumped at the chance. I was homesick after so many years away. My salary here was definitely a pay cut compared to what I could make in Germany, but I couldn't beat the commute. I wanted to live with my parents and be back in the warmth of my own home. A smaller salary was a small price to pay for happiness, and it's not like my family was short on money. Who would have thought I'd be publicly fired for such a ridiculous reason? If my old university classmates found out, they'd never let me live it down at our annual reunions. The thought alone made my skin crawl. But reality is often cruel. The more you try to hide something, the more likely it is to blow up. In the 15 minutes it took me to drive home, some employee from the party had already uploaded a video of my showdown with the boss to a short-form video platform. It went viral locally, and my old classmates saw it. So by the time I parked my car and checked my phone, I had several missed calls from them. Another call came in. I answered, and before I could even say hello, I was met with a chorus of merciless laughter. At the dinner table that night, despite my foul mood from being teased, my friend Alex couldn't stop laughing as he tried to console me. Come on, don't be upset. With your qualifications, companies will be lining up to hire you. Smile. Is it against your nature to smile or something? My friend Ben came over and patted my shoulder. You should consider my company. If you're willing to come, you can name your price. I guarantee my boss won't fire you for being too idle. Chris poured me a glass of orange juice with a mock-serious expression. Anna, you know how I was back in school. My boss heard I know you, heard what happened, and told me to recruit you at all costs. He said he'd even write you a guarantee that he'll never complain about you being idle. Ha 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 ha. The other friends burst out laughing, surrounding me with their relentless teasing. Even I couldn't help but feel a mix of annoyance and amusement. I knew they meant no harm, even if their laughter was loud. Mechanical engineering was a male-dominated field, and they had always looked out for me in college. But I've always been fiercely independent. After graduating, I found that many companies preferred male candidates with the same qualifications. Frustrated with the job hunt, I decided to go to Germany for my master's and PhD, figuring it would be easier to find a job when I returned. While I was studying hard in Germany, my old classmates had been climbing the corporate ladder. The least successful among them was now a department manager. Finding a new job wouldn't be hard, but the situation had blown up, and I was mortified. I decided to lay low for a while and wait for people's internet memories to fade before I started looking for a new job. My parents, though open-minded, had a typical parental trait. They loved to set me up on dates. I had always used work as an excuse, but now I was unemployed with plenty of time on my hands. They were rubbing their hands together, ready to fill my schedule with blind dates. To make matters worse, my relatives got involved, giving my number to a guy without my permission. I added him, realized what was happening, and promptly blocked him. Then they tried to bring him directly to my house. The New Year holiday is peak blind date season. It was terrifying. I was so scared that I snuck out of the house on the third day of the holiday. I didn't call my mom until I was on my way to the airport, telling her I had run away and wouldn't come back until they gave up on trying to marry me off. My mom was screaming on the phone, telling me to come back and promising they'd stop. It was clearly a lie. I wasn't falling for it. I had planned to travel for a few months, but my plans were cut short. Shortly after businesses reopened, I got a call from Jen, the HR manager from my old company. She told me to come in and complete my termination paperwork. When I went to sign the severance agreement, I ran into Mr. Zhao in the company parking lot. The look on his face when he saw me was priceless. His mouth moved as if he wanted to say something nasty, but remembering the disastrous party, he forced himself to stay quiet. I, on the other hand, was in a great mood thinking about my severance pay. I smiled brightly at him and greeted him cheerfully. Morning, former boss. Cutting it a little close today? His face darkened even more, and he couldn't stop himself from shooting me a venomous glare. I magnanimously decided not to press the issue. When the elevator arrived, I noticed he was still standing outside. I helpfully told him there was still room, and that he wouldn't make it overweight. He turned and stormed off. The other employees in the elevator were struggling to hold back their laughter. The elevator incident spread like wildfire. By the time I reached the HR department, Jen had already heard about it. She gave me a thumbs up. You're a legend. I waved my hand modestly. She'll keep it down. Jen chuckled, then quickly composed herself. Her office was right next to Mr. Zhao's, and she didn't want him to walk by and see her laughing, especially not now. Jen handed me the severance agreement to sign. Don't worry, she said. The boss knows not to mess with you. The compensation is generous. That made me laugh. You're exaggerating, Jen. You make me sound like some kind of monster. Aren't you? I've been with this company for years, and that's the first time I've ever seen the boss lose. I just smiled and didn't say anything. After confirming the agreement was correct, I signed it. As Jen filed the paperwork, she leaned in conspiratorially. By the way, did you know? Don took your position. The day after the party, my department head and I went to the boss to explain your situation and get him to retract the dismissal. But Don jumped in and said he could also repair the machine. The boss gave him a raise and put him in charge. Jen was telling me this because she wanted to know if Don really knew what he was doing. Thinking about how eager Don had been to learn, I knew he had at least learned how to adjust the machine settings. Jen could tell there was more to it and gave me a complicated look. She knew that machine was incredibly expensive, and if it broke, very few people in the country could fix it. They'd have to get someone from the German company to come over, and there was a waiting list. That machine was responsible for half the company's output. If it was fine, no problem. But if it broke, even one day of downtime would cause a production loss that the other machines couldn't make up for. A few days of downtime would mean delayed shipments and hefty late fees. That was why the company had hired a dedicated technician in the first place. The cost of one employee was far less than the penalties for late deliveries. Mr. Zhao understood this. That's why he had been willing to reconsider when Jen and my department had talked to him. But then Don stepped in, claiming he could fix it, and Mr. Zhao's reservations vanished. I secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you, Don. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten my severance pay. After what happened at the party, I wouldn't have stayed even if he begged me. As for why Don was so bold as to guarantee he could fix it, I guess it was just wishful thinking. The machine hadn't had a single issue in the year I was there. So Don probably figured he wouldn't be so unlucky as to have it break down right after I left. He thought he'd have time to translate the German manual and study it. His plan was beautiful until 3 days later. Just 3 days later, I got a call from Jen. The machine was broken. That was fast. I had to clarify that it wasn't my fault. I hadn't sabotaged anything, so they couldn't blame me. Jen's voice was weary. I know. It was the boss. He wanted to increase production, so he had Don adjust the machine settings. Don, trying to impress him, pushed it to its absolute limit. After 2 days of running at maximum capacity, the machine went on strike. The machine had broken down the day before. They called the German company, who said the earliest they could send someone was in a week. Mr. Zhao was furious but too proud to call me back. My old department head desperately called around to other companies, asking if anyone knew how to fix the machine. Jen helped too, but after countless calls, all they got were sympathetic shrugs and some schadenfreude from their competitors. Finally, faced with a week of late fees and a damaged reputation, Mr. Zhao had to swallow his pride. Hiding behind the scenes so he wouldn't have to personally ask me, he rationally decided to have me come back. After hearing all this, I was speechless. Poor him, what a tough decision. At that moment, I was on a video call with a former colleague from Germany. He was asking if I wanted to come back now that I was unemployed. I said no thanks. He was disappointed, then asked, if you're not coming back to Germany, are you open to freelance work? I knew immediately he was talking about fixing the machine at Mr. Zhao's company. I was about to refuse when he sent me a price list. He explained that Mr. Zhao's machine was out of its 1-year free warranty period, and since the damage was man-made, they would have to pay for repairs. If I took the job, they would split the fee 80-20, 80 for me, 20 for them. Looking at the quote, where every line item costs more than my old annual salary, damn it. I was tempted. As everyone knows, labor costs in Germany are extremely high, and the more expensive the machine, the more expensive the repairs. I silently saved the price list, then refused his offer again. A moment later, I forwarded the quote to Jen. I can fix it. Pay up first. Then, I watched as the typing bubble appeared and disappeared in Jen's chat window for a long time without a reply. I understood. Jen was too shocked to make a decision, and had gone to consult Mr. Zhao. As I expected, Jen had gone to ask Mr. Zhao if he was willing to pay. An hour later, Jen sent me a series of voice messages. I played them and was met with Mr. Zhao's enraged roars. Is he insane? Why doesn't he just rob a bank? Pay him according to this quote? I'd rather wait a week for the Germans to come. I would rather give my money to the Germans than to that crazy woman, Anna He. Damn it. Why are you all so useless? I refuse to believe there isn't another person in this country who can fix that machine. Fine, I'll be the bigger person. Tell her to come back and take her old job. After hearing the last message, I was so speechless I actually laughed. Jen, so are you coming back? Me. Smiling emoji.jpg. Jen. Can you give a discount on the fee? Me, for you, Jen, I'll give you a 1% discount. Jen, wow, my friendship is valuable. Leave it to me. Wait for my good news. Jen had a sense of humor. 2 hours later, she called me, her voice filled with excitement. He agreed. The boss caved. He'll pay the full quoted price. I got it immediately. Great. The extra from that 1% discount is your referral fee, Jen. Jen couldn't hold back a laugh. When I arrived at the factory, Jen was already waiting for me at the entrance. She greeted me warmly, linking her arm with mine as we walked onto the factory floor. Because the machine was down, half the employees were idle. Mr. Zhao wouldn't let them go back to their dorms to rest, so they were all hanging around, chatting and scrolling on their phones. When they saw me, they waved and greeted me enthusiastically. A few of the more outgoing girls even came over to chat. They all started talking at once, and I learned that after the incident at the annual party, some of the employees had been inspired. When they returned to work after the holiday, some of the assembly line supervisors had been bullying workers, yelling at them for being too slow or taking too long in the bathroom, using foul language that was even worse than Mr. Zhao's. A few brave workers fought back, threatening to call the police and sue them, just like I had. The situation escalated, and Mr. Zhao had to get involved. The look on his face when he found out was apparently priceless. Afterward, he made the supervisors apologize and put up a notice mandating respectful management and prohibiting verbal abuse. I couldn't help but laugh when I heard this. Then I looked up and saw Mr. Zhao's face, a mix of black and red, a picture of pure frustration. The girls who had been surrounding me saw him, covered their faces, and ran, afraid he would remember them. The reaction was not just hurtful, it was humiliating. Mr. Zhao's face was so dark you could squeeze ink from it. I pretended not to notice, walked past him to the machine, and started getting my tools out. When Mr. Zhao wasn't looking, Jen whispered to me that he was there to supervise, wanting to see where his money was going. He had shamelessly called over all the other technicians, claiming it was for supervision, but he really wanted them to learn by watching. All except Dawn, who had been fired for causing the disaster. Learn. They wouldn't learn a thing. If it were that easy, I wouldn't have had to study myself to death in Germany. I confidently opened the machine's diagnostic system right in front of them. The interface, entirely in German, was enough to stump the technicians Mr. Zhao had sent to spy on me. Following the system's prompts, I confirmed the issues in several spots on the machine, then took out my printed quote and circled a few items. Since Mr. Zhao was right there, I walked straight up to him and told him to pay me first. Mr. Zhao's eyes widened as he looked at the 3 items I had circled. The total cost almost made him swear. But when his eyes met mine, he visibly calmed himself, forced a stiff, fake smile, and called the finance department to transfer the money to me immediately. A moment later, my phone buzzed with a notification of the transfer. I looked at the amount, then turned to Mr. Zhao and thanked him sincerely. Thank you, boss. You're a good man. Mr. Zhao's breathing hitched. I saw a vein throbbing on his forehead as he urged me through gritted teeth. Time is money. You have the payment. Now get to work. I have other things to attend to. With that, he turned and walked away briskly, his retreating back looking suspiciously like he was fleeing. TSK. So thin-skinned. Why even show up for more punishment? The problem with the machine wasn't major, but replacing the parts was tricky. Luckily, I had suggested they stock a spare set of parts when I first started, so we didn't have to wait for them to be shipped from Germany. While I was replacing the faulty components, a few of the other technicians helped out. Unlike Dawn, they had some pride and didn't pester me with questions. They just stood by silently and handed me tools when I needed them. By the time I had replaced all the broken parts, recalibrated the system, and confirmed it was running properly, it was already dark outside. Mr. Zhao, hearing the machine was fixed, rushed over to see for himself. Seeing the equipment running normally, his expression was a mix of complex emotions. He looked at me hesitantly, looking like he was about to say something. As he opened his mouth, A sense of foreboding washed over me. I pretended to take a call and made a run for it. Later, Jen told me that Mr. Zhao had wanted to rehire me at a higher salary. He was planning to buy another machine from Germany and knew he couldn't do it without a qualified technician. He asked Jen to tell me that if I came back, he would offer me double my previous salary and would never again complain about me being idle. I could even play games, watch dramas, or read novels at work, and he wouldn't say a word. I politely declined. That's all for today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I hope today's story brightened your day, and I'll see you in the next video.